Hi, I'm Angus from Let's Learn English, and I'll be your teacher today. Today we're going to look at the modal verbs must and should. Must and should are modal verbs. This means they are always used with another verb. They never change their form, and the verb they are used with is always in the bare infinitive, the infinitive without to. So in the affirmative, we have the following sentences. I should, go to the dentist's. You should, do your homework. He should, be in France by now. She should, leave early if she wants to catch the train. Mary should, learn to control her anger. The computer should, have a Pentium 4 processor. We should, meet tonight. They should go on holiday this summer. The negative, I should not see that film. You should not go in there, it's private. He should not try to help her, she can do it by herself. She should not talk to him. Mr. Harris should not pay for the meal. The dog should not go into that room. We should not eat that food. They should not play in the street. Must not can also become mustn't. Should not can also become shouldn't. In the question form, the modal comes at the beginning of the sentence, followed by the subject and the bare infinitive. Should I change trains at Birmingham? Should you shout so loudly? Should he ask her for forgiveness? Should she talk to him about their relationship? Should Mary really go home? Should the computer be switched on all day and night? Should we go out tonight? Should they use their dictionaries? So how do we use must and should? Must is used in the following ways. We use it to talk about strong obligation. For example, you must phone your mother, there's something wrong. Must here can have a present or a future meaning. You must phone your mother tomorrow, there's something wrong. The negative of must is used for negative obligation. You mustn't go in my room. We must not talk in the lesson. We don't usually use must in questions. Instead we use have to, which has a similar meaning. Do I have to go to bed now? Does she have to work with me? We also use should to talk about obligation, but it's much more mild. It's really used for advice. You should do your homework. Again, should can be used with a future reference. You should do your homework tomorrow. The negative of should is shouldn't. You shouldn't talk about people behind their backs. We usually use should in questions when we're talking about advice. Should I go out tonight, or should I stay at home? Another use of must is to talk about certainty, when you're 100% certain that something has happened. For example, she left here 2 hours ago. She must be home by now. Here, must can only be used in the present. It can't be used with a future reference because then it changes its meaning and becomes an obligation, not a certainty. Don't forget, you can never be certain about anything in the future. The negative of must is not used to talk about certainty, because then it changes its meaning and becomes an obligation. To talk about negative certainty, we use can't. She only left here 5 minutes ago, so she can't be home yet. We don't usually use must as a question when talking about certainty. Instead, we use, "Are you sure?" She left here an hour ago. Are you sure she's home by now? We use should to talk about certainty when we're around 75% sure. She left here 2 hours ago. She should be home by now. Again, just like must, should can only be used in the present, because if we use it in the future, it changes its meaning to become more like advice. We don't really use should in the negative to talk about certainty, because just like must, it changes its meaning. So instead we use, "I don't think." I don't think I've passed my exams. We don't usually use should as a question when talking about certainty either. We can use, "Do you think?" Do you think Paul and Mary will get married?